First question I have is the concept. I love the concept of it's a fixer-upper mixed with a musical. How did that come about?
It didn't come about all at once. It was an organic creation process. We started off wanting to create a haunted house game, but when we started investigating what that means to have a haunted house, it's about past, it's about memory. So we went back to our own past, back in the 80s, growing up in the UK, and we were listening to a lot of the music of the time, from Specials, to Madness, and the song Ghost Town had a big impression on us. It was in the days of Margaret Thatcher, Ronald Reagan here in the States. And so the protest music and the songs that talked about, no opportunities for the youth, a lack of jobs, and just a real pessimism about the future being in the heart of the Cold War, that felt to us as the heart of the ghost story that we were trying to tell. And even though the game is set in 2001, it has very much of those vibes. And so the music came naturally from that. First, the music was just in the background, and then we started having the characters actually singing it, So it was an organic process how it all came together.
And can you tell us a little bit about the overall, because this is also, it's not just a fixer-upper game like you expect, you actually have actual story in this as well. So how did the story come about with that, with the characters? And because what I played from the demo, a little bit of it is he's in there, but then he gets called, and then she's like, we have to go now, and he ends up in a boat, and they end up in this island. How did all that come about?
Right, so, you play as Chris David, who is an American man who has inherited this British seaside hotel from the English side of his family that he's never met. And so it's very much a fish out of water story. You are not supposed to really understand exactly what's going on, and the main character himself keeps secrets from the player. He is an unreliable narrator, so you're not entirely sure that everything that he says is true, or that everything that you see is to be believed. Is the cat that talks really a talking cat? Are the power tools that talk to you really talking? So it is a surreal adventure. And so all of the different types of gameplay elements that we have, from decoration to investigation and exploration, are all there to serve this surreal an unexpected storyline that you're following as you're there to unravel the mystery of what happened to your father who disappeared, to find out what the main character's real secret mission is, and to find out why on earth everyone in the town is singing at you, because that also has a story reason.
And let's talk a little bit about the gameplay, because, of course, it's the fixer-up, but there's more to it. You have various tools that I got to play during the demo here. You have the vacuum, you have the paint. How did you decide, what tools you're going to use, what tools you're not going to include in a game design like this?
So that's a great question. Ultimately, this is a story-based game, but we didn't want to end up with one of those games where you have a strong story, but not an awful lot of interaction for the player. So what we wanted was some interaction methods that really match the story and the narrative. And this idea of renovating a haunted house, literally peeling off wallpaper and floorboards and revealing secrets, is something that really resonated with us. So as you decorate the house and the village, blasting off wallpaper, you will literally discover clues, letters, and hidden secrets, which you can then pin to a crime board and create connections and clues, which will then unlock new environments, which, in order to investigate, you have to renovate, you have to decorate. You can use photographs from the past of these old locations and try and bring them back to how they used to do, how they used to look. And if you do that, you can trigger a memory within that location, which again gives you more of the story and drives things forward that way. So for us, the question is not so much, how does renovation and ghost stories go together? It's, how has this not been done before? Because it seems like such a natural idea to us.
Natural selection, because it's like doing a ghost, you're going to have to renovate, especially if you're doing a haunted house or something like that. Renovating would be kind of like the ideal. My next question is on the musical aspect of this, of what type of genre of music did you guys decide to go with? Is there different type of genres, and what was your musical inspirations for the game?
So for us, very much the musical inspiration, I guess with a lot of people, is the music that we grew up with. So growing up in the kind of the 80s and the early 90s, growing up in a growing up in a difficult time, economically in the UK, there were a lot of protest songs, so songs by, the ska band, the Specials, by Madness, by The Clash, and a lot of these kind of ska, punk, reggae songs, angry, fighting against establishment, and rallying against a lack of opportunities that young people had, and a lack of jobs and the uncertain future. And we suddenly thought, wow, that sounds awfully familiar, actually. It sounds like what's happening right now. And so the game has a variety of different musical styles, and it's very much like finding a kind of dusty record under your dad's, collection of these old songs from the kind of 80s, talking about this very particular time and place in British history. And so each character has their own song in their own musical style that brings their story forward. So it's not musical theatre in the traditional sense. It's much more of a game that has a really fantastic soundtrack, but one that's integrated very much into the gameplay. And if that's not your thing, players can always skip it.
And my final question will be, when will this be available if there's a release date, and will it be on consoles? What's the plan with that?
So we're planning a release towards the end of this year on PC, and there's currently a Steam demo which players can try out right now. And then we'll be coming to Xbox Game Pass on day one of the full release, and then other consoles will be announced shortly thereafter.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. My impressions of the game and the demo so far that you guys can play on Steam is, I can honestly say this is one of the more unique games out there that's coming out, and it takes those several ideas that normally wouldn't fit together. You have a house fixer-upper, you have a ghost story, you have a musical, and on the surface it looks like a renovation game, but underneath it's a supernatural mystery, and you have quirky characters, you have strange happenings, and it truly has a lot of charm. And I really did enjoy the atmosphere that the demo creates, especially in the beginning when we're at the hotel and we're fixing up things, as you saw me doing during the interview, where I'm placing pictures on the wall. You can paint, you can actually stay there and complete the stuff if you wanted to, but I wanted to see what the story was and just kept going. And what I like also is that the controls are very smooth as well. The renovation mechanics are straightforward and satisfying. You're cleaning up rooms, you're repairing damaged areas, and you're really bringing things back to life to the hotel. But I would have to say the biggest selling point for me, truly as someone who loves theater, who loves Broadway, who loves musicals, was the musical aspect. And that's what I was really wanting to see, how that's going to be incorporated into the game. And thankfully the demo gives you a glimpses of that. I love how the characters occasionally break into song instead of just filling out places. The musical numbers, they added personality to the game, and it's refreshing to see as well. And the songs were embedded, and they're really enjoyable, they're catchy, and the graphics, I like the way it looks aesthetically. I had no real frame rate issues on my PC, so the demo ran very well. So just to kind of wrap it up, give my impressions, obviously, once again, I don't want to spoil too much. You guys can play the demo for yourself. Based on the demo, I want to say that There Are No Ghosts at the Grand has a lot of potential. It offers a fun mix of exploration, storytelling, and of course renovation gameplay, and it has that supernatural intrigue that kept me engaged from the beginning to the end. So if the full game can maintain this level of creativity and continue building on its mystery and the musicals and see how all that's going to be incorporated, I say this is going to be a very must play game. So definitely add this to your wish list and check out the demo for yourself. This is Justin from ImaginativeVisions.com. This is Gaming Central. If you like what we do here, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Huge thank you to Tribeca Games, Tribeca Film Festival, and the developers for the interview and letting me know the demo was out. So stay tuned for more coverage here. I'll catch you on the next one later days.